The goal of BibleChronicles.com is to work towards an absolute biblical chronology. And I want to introduce you to two absolute dates. The 430 years from the call of Abram to the night of the Passover. The Bible says, and ye shall keep it, the lamb, up until the 14th day of the same month. For those of you who don't know what it is the first full moon day after the vernal equinox. Now the Passover event occurs around midnight. Now if you count backwards for 430 years, an event should have happened on the 14th day of the same month and at midnight. Now there are 430 years between God's covenant or promise with Abram while he still was in Mesopotamia, and the Passover then, 430 years later, is then also on the 14th day of the same month, during a full moon and around midnight. In the year 1868 BC, Terah took his son Abram and Lot, his grandson, and they went out together from Ur of Chaldeans in order to enter the land of Canaan. Now his older son decided to stay in Ur. It was Terah who decided to leave Ur of Chaldeans. So the question is, when did God told Abram to leave his country and kindred? Now, Acts 7 clearly say that it happened before he lived in Haran. The conclusion is that God spoke to Abram while he was on the road somewhere in Mesopotamia towards Haran. Abram's father was a worshipper of the moon god Nana, and it was the custom to worship during full moon at midnight. So just south of the modern Iraqi city of Samarra, on the 9th of April 1868 BC, the moon at midnight was at its highest point, and Terah must have begun to worship to his moon god. Now, did Abram participate in this worship, but did he have some other thoughts or ideas, maybe going back and stay with his brother Nahor in Ur of Chaldean? Now God spoke to Abram, "Go forth from your country, and from your relatives, and from your father's house, to the land which I will show you." Abram believed God. Now this act of faith happened during a full moon opposition at Samarra, but more important, at midnight in Goshen. It was the 9th of April 1868 BC. Exactly 430 years later in Goshen, on the selfsame day, the 14th of Nisan, the 25th of April 1438 BC, during a full moon opposition, it was 12 o'clock midnight in the modern city of Samarra, the time God started to talk to Abram. And it came to pass that at midnight the Lord smote all the firstborn in the land of Egypt. Exactly 430 years after Abram accepted the promise of God, on the 26th of April 1438 BC, the Passover occurred.